What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Infusion Breakdown Show. As always, it's your boy Joshua Freeman. To my left, I got Mr. Bryan Carey. To my far right, I got Mr. Desmond Tillmon. And special guest, we got Chris here today. How you guys doing?
All right, man. How y'all?
Excellent.
So we have two questions for today. The first question is going to be, why is it harder to do good than it is to do bad? So, I don't know who wants to take this first.
Did you still want to start?
I'll come back to me on that
Okay.
one. Come back to me on that one.
No, we're going to let Josh lead it off today.
We're going to let me?
Yeah, we're going to let you lead it off.
Okay, why is it harder to do good than it is to do bad? I basically say because people are selfish-based beings crawling across the earth, and
Did you say crawling across the earth?
walking across
Wow.
the earth.
That's
We're
what
selfish-based beings walking across the earth, but because we have brains, we can aspire to something that is less than pure evil, basically. And basically, people might not be naturally evil, but due to the standard of what like society places on them, this is why we gravitate to like more of the bad than the good. Plus, more of the bad is like more televised, stuff like that, like mass murders, like stuff like mass murders and everything. That's more televised, so it's just more attention being focused on it. So, and plus with that, there's certain factors in society that will, of course, that will enable us to do more bad. As far as like if a poor person steals, that doesn't mean that they're naturally a thief. That just because the factors of society has caused them to go down that route as far as stealing. You know what I mean? Make sense?
Yeah.
Good.
I understand why they did it.
But I say that's why it's just harder, because basically the factors in society is causing it to not be easier, basically. Causing us not to follow more of an easier path.
I disagree with you on the fact that it's a societal thing, because I don't think it's just purely society. We're all sentient beings, and of course we do have external factors, but largely we're in charge of our decisions, and we also have to suffer or reap ourselves the consequences of those actions. So like that homeless person who could be stealing, they could have been homeless because they had a drinking problem. So that's not necessarily society telling them to pick up the bottle or anything like that. So that's always a factor. But I will agree with you and say that that's not really. But it's harder to be good than it's bad, because bad is the default condition of life. So by our inaction, we can cause something bad to happen. If we don't do anything, only bad things are going to happen. Nothing gets better with inaction or not doing anything. So that's my counter argument to Mr. Joshua versus society.
So do you believe that people are naturally good or bad? I mean, good or bad or whatever.
I think we are neither, really. But left to our own devices, without society to help shape and mold us and give us a moral system, we tend to lean more on the bad side of the spectrum. Like if you just somebody who was uncivilized and you just let them loose in the city, I highly doubt they'd do anything productive.
Okay, I never done what I said before.
Two qualms. You said neither, but then you use like a modern term like uncivilized. Like I feel like that is like a tag. Like you're civilized, he's uncivilized per se. Like you're using modern like terminology to define like human, like the entirety of like the human species. Like my counter argument is going to be like I agree with you, but I'm gonna say that we're inherently savages, and what I mean by that is it's our default. Chaos is our default. Mm-hmm. It's just what we know. Like it's that survive by any means necessary attitude that is just what we all have. Like only the strong survive type thing. Like that's a real thing, and it's not that far erased from our history. Like you can look at within the past century of that same mentality being like implemented in ways. If you want to look at the Holocaust per se, or if you want to look at the colonialship in Africa, like that mentality isn't that far erased. It only advanced as time progressed. Mm-hmm. So I just think that using like civil and uncivil in a way to just describe humans in a sense is a disservice, because we're taught to be civil. Like we need laws in a way to like conform everybody into like this civil society. Mm-hmm. Whereas like if we're getting down to the nitty gritty, if you strip everything away, like it's our it's our inherent like nature. It's in our nature to be like aggressive. It's in our nature to step on anyone's toes to get what you want out of life. Like it just so happens that there's consequences to doing it now. Some people get away with it, some people don't. So that's my only like, you know, issue with my only issue with that is like saying that we're neither good nor bad, because I think history proves that inherently, like we are savage. We're savage. We just, as like a whole, has like in terms like defied like the status quo. Like we wanted better for ourselves as time progressed, because we realized that in chaos nobody gets to enjoy the true luxuries of life. Mm-hmm. And I think if we didn't have any luxuries in life, then we would automatically default back to the savagery and doing whatever we wanted.
So what I meant by saying people are neither good or bad is in our current form, like right now, because we have rules and we all have moral frames. But when I said uncivilized, I was going from the perspective of, let's say we have a human being completely raised in isolation. They have everything they need, all the necessities, food, water, shelter, everything. But they're in isolation. They come with their own rules. They do what they do. They're acting on instinct.
Who's this, Bane?
No, Bane was in a whole other people. But if you're raised in an isolated condition like that, your default setting is going to be, like you said, chaos. So more or less, we're saying the same thing. Okay.
My thing was, my only issue with uncivilized is that uncivilized person knows what civilized is and they choose to just go against it.
So your point of contention was based on what civilized was, mm-hmm. and what it isn't. Okay.
Okay, so when I look at the questions, like, why is it hard to do good than it is to do bad? I'll break it down. It's not hard to do bad. I mean,
so you're saying it's just easier?
When you're looking at our generation and the way things are right now, anything is considered bad.
What is anything?
Anything as in things are what's brought about in, let's say, you can go with as far as society, but I don't want to go that broad, but any person who's trying to raise someone now, anyone that's going about let's say,
you're saying raising someone in societies in our current context is difficult, and people have thoughts about that. Right. So I think that's always been the case.
Yeah, but everyone's different. So, but it's not hard to do bad things because the way laws are set up, and I mean, we can go out driving reckless. I mean, that's bad, but to other people, it's not bad.
I feel he's kind of coming on my side a little bit. Basically, how society affects the rules of society.
But see, the major reason I disagree with you is because a lot of things you say are rooted in the idea that society is bad by default.
Because it is.
It has good and bad. It's a miracle that we're able to go outside right now and the world isn't burning. It's a civilized chaos.
You said it's a miracle that can go in there.
Yeah. I mean, if it's as bad as what we think they are, that's a possibility, right? Is it not?
You're saying that I'm saying
Can we say that was once the case and we've learned from our mistake?
Yeah, we're capable of doing that. It's not just we're pissing the world
away. But in the
away.
genesis of it, that's what it was. Like society in its organic structure is uncivilized. And like I said, we've learned to appreciate the luxuries of life and seeing that this is what we want and protecting that. Kind of like how I don't want to, of course I hate pulling the race thing, but like how like the white man like sets up for generations. Mm-hmm. You gotta sit here and realize that like if you're only focused on you and the now, and if you're just doing bad, you're creating like a negative lineage in the sense that it's only going to get worse as time progresses. But if you establish a new status quo and each generation bites from that status quo and they enhance it, then you have what we have today.
And we have that because of society, where knowledge is transferred from one individual to another through generational
Not arguing
prosperity.
that, but what I'm saying, I'm defending his point in the sense that society and its organic structure is chaotic, and we've learned with time to, better police ourselves, literally and figuratively speaking.
But you're saying it's not. You're saying it's more about how we are.
I'm saying
rooted in
not everything in society is perfect, but given what we could have, this is pretty good. Like, of course,
I think it's just because we're the last standing out of the bunch.
Last standing of who's
like
the bunch?
ideologies, like you've had Nazism, you've had fascism, you've had communism, then you had democracy, and we just so happen to be the last one standing out of the bunch. So it looks like that. But if you go to like Russia, if you want to go to like Germany, and during those time periods, and they're like comparing it to America, they probably view America, well, there's no problem, they view America as like the enemy because we are this utopian world to where our structure has been in place for so long. And that's like what I said, what we're both saying, we're just saying it in a different way. That society started off chaotic, but we were smart enough to learn and progress and break away from what wasn't working. Whereas other people were trying to like, in its organic sense, when it starts up, revolution. Revolution isn't civilized. Revolution is chaos. And from there, they're trying to progress. But being since we are the main power right here, and this isn't even like going into the good or bad. This is just like explaining how society has came over time. Because we're right here, we see this little small faction of Europe as a threat, and it's our MO to like disable that. So that's where it comes when like society is bad, because moving our own agenda, we disable the lives of others. So that's just like defending his society mind frame to where, or his society argument to where society always starts off as chaos, and then we're proving that society is chaos by further destabilizing an area that is, or a region that serves as a threat, even though it hasn't even gotten to its full potential yet. Like that's just the chaos that he's referring to, that revolves around the idea of society. Because if you're going to look at society, you have to look at the ideology that comes with it, and if you look at the ideology, then you got to explain like Pakistan and Pakistan and India.
Yeah.
Like
they're the same people, but they hate each other.
Yeah, like that's society at the end of the day. Two societies that are trying to advance their own agendas, but like potentially tearing each other down at the same time. That's the qualms and the chaotic, really the chaotic default of society. It's the negatives. Like in us creating a society, it pretty much births this competitiveness to just be better. And depending on how you want to look at competitiveness, it's both good and bad. So you can't say society is neither when competitiveness is both good and bad. It's good for your own agenda, but it's bad for the people that don't benefit from your own agenda.
But what you're saying about, let's say the Pakistan and India example, people who have essentially, since we're all people, but there's different lines that make us distinct from one another. So when you degrade a tribalism, you just group it with people who you happen to be like or share characteristics of you. Okay, I can see where you can see it would be chaos. But I'm saying, so the way I see society is more so this bracelet I have on is hematite, rainbow hematite actually. But these stones, they were not always like this. When they were cut in their raw form, collected from the mine wherever they were blocks, raw blocks with all kind of deformations and flaws and stuff. But what they did was they took each stone, they put it into this collider, and over time what they did, they shaped each other between colliding and hitting together, and they became rounded. And I think that's what society does for us. They take people and all our imperfections, they put us together. And for the sake of to maintain our civilization and to preserve what we have, we make each other better. Not saying that there aren't things that get destroyed in the process. And we fall short of the goal sometimes. But I feel like that's the overall goal of society is a benefit. And I can't argue against it myself. I thought about it for a long time.
But as far as the factors, I wasn't just talking about as far as external factors, as far as their living conditions and everything. Internal factors too, as far as survival of the fittest, because that is naturally rooted in society as far as surviving on their own and making sure they have what they have to do, and that comes with society. So that's what I was going to as far as Desmond. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else you guys?
We can't sit here and agree that there's a survival of the fittest mentality and then say we work together to make society better. Really, we're only enhancing our own agenda, and we're tolerating someone until we're at the point where we no longer have to tolerate them.
Because we collectively benefit.
In a sense.
In the long run.
But the thing is, though, like, those beads are forever embedded until one breaks off. Mm-hmm. One breaks off, they're no longer a collection. They're no longer part of that societal structure and I think that's really what society is right now. Mm-hmm. That's like what my counter argument it is that, yeah, there's one society, but there's 10, 20 million other societies inside of this one society. Like, think about how white people roll together. There's different factions of white people. Think about how Filipinos roll together. Different factions of Filipino. Same with blacks, same with Spanish, same with Italians, like Europeans in general. Mm-hmm. So that's why, like, that's my issue is with that argument is because any stone is precious no matter how you look at it. And you can only make that stone better as they did with that one. Like, you can find the ugliest stone and somebody's still going to find the beauty in it. In society, you can look and see how great people work together, but when you get down to the intentions, which is why I choose to stray away from them, they're not pure in a sense.
Referring back to a previous episode.
Intentions again.
Let's see. So look at, for example, a troop of gorillas. So it's in the best interest for, I'm going to use a close analogy that's not human.
We know animals are smarter than humans, though, so we can't use this one.
But I'm illustrating a point. So the strongest male gorilla, who's a tyrant who just rules by force, he's not going to be in power long because the troop is not acting. He's not acting in the best interest for the entire group. So over time, two males who might not be as strong, but collectively they're going to take him out. Versus if you have a leader who is merciful and looks out for the rest of the troop, make sure everyone gets their fair share of food, who isn't excessively violent towards members of his own in-group, then he has longevity because the troop survives longer. Collectively, they benefit. That's why they allow him to be in power, and they don't always should overthrow their leader.
Like, your perspective, I see it clearly because, I mean, I'm an animal person as well, so I can study, I can see how they act and how they evolve, and with us at least assisting them in their environment and these guys' perspective is I don't know.
I already told you what is it.
Yeah, we all have valid points, but
yeah. What do you guys think though? Why is it harder to do good than it is to do bad? Comment below. Let us know. Okay. The second question is going to be: what's more evil, protecting an evil person from the law or killing an evil person? What do you guys think? So I don't know who wants to take this one.
I'll take this one.
Okay.
So let's be clear. Either way, you're going to jail. You protect the other person, the evil person.
What you mean?
Okay, so as I was saying, legally, either way, you're going to jail. So look at the incident where Lee Harvey Oswald, when he killed JFK, and the man who assassinated him, which was Jack Ruby. You know what happened to Jack Ruby?
What?
He was captured. He was arrested. And they sentenced him to life. Oh, excuse me. They sentenced him for execution originally.
But then it's Texas. Is it Texas?
I'm not sure the state. Possibly. But, yeah, they sentenced him to execution, which you would think that if he took down the person who killed our president, he would be a national hero. And that's the kind of the argument he took. But they weren't buying it, so they sentenced him to execution. And he ended up dying after he was able to get a retrial. So the execution was off, but they were going to actually find a sentence for him, and he died in that process. But from a utilitarian framework, the maximum amount of good, I would say that you helping that evil person, depending on what your definition of evil, I'm thinking the far end of the spectrum, someone who is a true detriment to society. Protecting that person is the wrong thing to do.
So you're settling with protecting the evil person?
Mm-hmm.
But you're saying both of them, you can go to jail?
Legally speaking, I'm aware, yes.
But morally speaking?
Yeah. Using a utilitarian framework, my answer is...
If you protect the evil person from the law, as far as being a lawyer, you can go to jail for doing that?
No. Okay, I wouldn't think about that.
Oh, okay.
Very good point. Very good point. I was thinking more along the lines of hiding someone who's fleeing from freeing from the law, something like that. I wasn't thinking about protecting someone legally.
Yeah, you can take somebody legally.
You're right.
So something to think about.
I mean, I'm more protect the person from law.
That's more evil.
I mean, is it more evil?
Is it more evil to protect the person from the law? Or is it more evil to kill an evil person?
I'm not gonna kill an evil person. I'm not gonna have that on my conscience of killing someone.
So is that more evil killing them?
Yes. I'm gonna try to protect them. I'll protect the evil person because, like he said, it depends on what your definition of evil is. I mean, yeah, someone who is evil can go against society in many ways and factors. But from a clinician standpoint, as far as someone who assists the community in different ways, I'm gonna try to protect them because if you're evil, you could be having so many barriers mentally about what's going on, because mentally you will want to antagonize everyone in society. So I'm trying to help them in many ways as possible. I'm not going to go as far as killing someone because I'm not that type of person. I have that on my conscience. I don't want that.
You're not a goon?
So what? No, I'm not that guy. Like, I'll help you out. I'll fight with you, but look, I ain't killing nobody. So like,
put your ski mask on. I need to go see you.
I got you.
I think it's just up to the person, to be honest. Because at the end of the day, the person that's doing either is the one that has to deal with it. All I will say, because I can't give you a definite answer, I think that either or sets a negative precedent. Because if you're going to use the JFK example, and Lee Harvey Oswald, yeah, that sets a negative precedence because somebody's taking the law into their own hands, which then requires for the government to say, yeah, you did good in a sense, but we still have to keep order, and it kind of goes back into it kind of goes back into the society argument and keeping everyone in check via laws and implementing those laws regardless of that person's status. And I would say if you're going to protect the evil person, then I think in that sense it kind of like speaks of your own person.
So yeah, we need to define what evil is. So is it contained evil? Like, did they kill one person for a very specific reason? Like, for example, someone who had hurt someone's sister or something like that, and the guy goes out for revenge and kills the guy, which it was justified, not saying whether or not it was right or wrong, but he has more of a motive versus someone who wants to commit like a mass genocide. Because those are two different kinds of evil. Two entirely different kinds. And it affects the way you look at this question.
Two different kinds of evil?
Mm-hmm. Whether it's contained or whether it's just nihilistic and wants to get rid of everyone.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like evil is evil. I mean,
You don't think there's any differentiation between levels of evil?
I mean, you're causing harm regardless.
But would you really put someone on the same scale if they say killed one person? An example I just used, somebody get revenge for someone hurting their sister, so they're gonna kill that person. Is that evil equal to what happened in Soviet Russia, in the gulags, and them committing mass genocides over there? Or how about Pol Pot, or any number of these huge genocides?
I think he's saying it doesn't matter. Somebody's still getting hurt.
I understand that, but I'm saying, is there?
You're trying to measure.
Are
evil.
you differentiating?
Yeah, you're trying to measure evil. He's not.
Yeah. I was saying, I'm asking, can he differentiate, or using your framework that you're using to attack this question? Are you able to differentiate between a contained evil, someone doing an isolated murder as they see it just for something? Is that the same, or are you saying it's different than someone committing a genocide, like the Nanking Massacre, or any number? You can fill in the blank.
I mean,
Are they equal?
I don't think they are equal. But all I'm saying is that at the end of the day, by definition of the word or term evil and the verbiage, you can, however you want to describe it as an adjective, noun, whoever, like you're inflicting discomfort or harm towards an individual, or you're causing harm to something or someone. If you're having the mentality of doing something guilt.
No matter what.
No matter. I mean.
So if I told you right now, there's a man right here. He's gonna punch this baby in the face, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you could either choose to stop that, or the Holocaust would have never happened. What would you choose? I'm taking too long to answer.
I mean, honestly, you want to go that broad? I mean,
they're both evil by your definition.
By my definition, you're right. They're both evil. But there's one baby against one. So as I said,
so there are levels, right?
Yeah, if you want to go as far as breaking down, but from my broad perspective, I mean, you're causing harm regardless.
You are.
But
I just wanted to verify whether you agree with me or not.
Yeah, I mean, there's levels to. I feel you.
You literally said if you stop this guy from pushing this baby or Holocaust, that's funny. Okay, I'm sorry.
Look, he said,
and then said you're taking too long.
Like,
come on now.
Fuck them damn kids.
You gonna put that in your face, boy.
You got one baby against a whole like.
But he said they're everything. If you're inflicting harm or discomfort on an individual, you're evil.
By definition, that is what it is.
He drew no distinction. I was creating the distinction.
You're right.
So are you saying this question depends on the measure of evil? Yeah, of evil?
I would say so.
Yikes. Okay.
To a large degree.
That's why I didn't present the counter argument, because he does stuff like that.
Who?
You.
But as far as the question, what's more evil, protecting an evil person from the law or killing an evil person? Even though I recognize as far as how bad it could be as far as to take another person's life, I do understand that the United States do it, but it's not all bad as far as how they do it, as far as taking an evil person, as far as killing an evil person when it comes to invading countries, as far as Osama bin Laden or something like that, just as an example, or Saddam Hussein or something like that. But just an example. Desmond's facial reactions over here. But I'm gonna say, so that's what I'm gonna say. What's more evil is protecting an evil person from the law, because I kind of look at it as I asked you this question. What do you hate more, a liar or a thief?
A liar?
Yeah.
Personally?
A liar.
What do you think, Doug?
A thief.
Oh, this guy here. You had to be why do you hate a thief more?
Could you, yeah.
Because a liar is just a really good storyteller. A thief has some bad intentions.
Bad intentions, okay.
Well,
You don't think the liar's bad intentions?
I guess why can't the liar have bad intentions?
He can, but he's just a really good storyteller. He's really good at what he does.
But you're saying the thief always has bad intentions?
Yeah.
Someone who's...
The thief always has intentions to take, whereas the liar is really just good at manipulating.
A homeless person who steals food.
You don't... So, back in my youth, I had a very, very toxic mentality where I really didn't understand homelessness. And my question was, why are all people homeless? Or why are people homeless when at the end of the day we all have equal opportunity as human beings? Just at the bare root.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I really don't talk about homeless people.
Oh, so you exclude yourself from any discussion of that?
And the reason why I excluded, because there's obvious that homeless people or people in general are going up against some form of resistance, or whether it be whether you want to be race related, or trying to fit in where you don't fit in per se. But at the end of the day, that's like my general consensus or my general feeling about homeless people, is because there was a point where they gave up, and that's why I can't sympathize. Because for you to like be comfortable in that form, like that means you neglected your life for a certain amount of like years to get to that point. It wasn't something that just happened overnight. It was like neglect over a time period, and now we're supposed to feel sorry. that's why I always remain like distance from the homeless thing. Like the humanitarian me wants to help people, but I want to help people that are in a situation and can't get out of it. Not somebody that has neglected every opportunity that they potentially could have had, or neglected themselves, and now they're stuck in this environment. Because I'm not ignorant to the fact that U.S. society isn't fair, but at the same time, like homelessness isn't something that I just never really understood, because the system like in place forces kids through, like because it forces kids through, there's like some form of opportunity. And because I feel like there's some form of opportunity, you can make anything out of nothing. Like even if you were to just scrape through school, you can get a job at like what is it called, blue collar job. Could have been at least the last thing you wanted to do, but it's still an opportunity. It's either that or the current situation. So that's why I don't talk about it too much, because even though society is set up the way it is, there's always opportunity, and you just neglect it, and then the default is that society doesn't offer opportunity to everybody. So that's why I don't.
So that's why you said the thief is worse.
Yeah. Okay. I asked that though because I say liar too. I say liar too because basically a liar is after my reality, while a thief is just basically after my personal belongings.
Right.
That's what I think. If you're after my reality and you're trying to make me think something totally different than what is the truth, that's way more evil.
A liar, they create a whole nother narrative.
Exactly, a whole nother narrative. I want you to believe it. So you making me believe that's like me to compare. It's like me in a fantasy world, and I'm like getting everything I want because I'm being fed it. I'm like that's how I look at it, and that's you mess with my reality. That's why I think a liar is more better than a thief. And I compare the liar to protecting an evil person because as a lawyer,
do you think they're the same? They could be the same though.
It's
the liar could be the thief.
Yeah, or the thief could be honest. Yeah, I stole it.
Well, no, I'm not looking at it from that point. The liar is a thief because he's stealing your sense of peace and sanity.
I'm gonna go that deep into it.
Well, it's not me going that deep into it. It's using your analogy and piecing the two together.
All right, say that one more time. I
said the liar and the thief in your analogy are one and the same because they're stealing your peace. They're stealing your happiness. Like that's a choice at the end of the day. It's a choice in the rawest form because you chose to let that person in, but it also speaks on that person's evilness because that's what they did with the vulnerability that you gave them willingly. So that's why I said they're both.
Okay.
Because they took your purity percents and they ripped it from you.
Yeah,
stole it from you.
I was about to say like that's not really part of my habit, but yeah.
So you're not looking at just on the part of material possessions.
Yeah, like if you can separate the both, then I'll give you the argument. But if you're going to use it in that sense, then they're literally one and the same. You're the liar and the thief. Off of the basic definition of both.
Yeah.
When you say material possessions, what do you mean exactly?
A thief taking your phone. Taking your
phone.
You can get those back.
A thief stealing something and the benefit of pushing its own agenda not to tear you down.
Yeah. You can get those things back. But like you say, your reality, your feelings, your time, your effort, your love, stuff like that, you can't get that back.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So which one do you weigh more valuable? That's how you answer the question.
You said he went with y'all originally.
Huh?
I said he went with y'all originally.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
I'm breaking down my thought process behind it.
So you still rolling with the liar?
Yeah, I'm still going with the liar. I understand what you're talking about as far as it's actually messing with because my reality is my happiness, basically, bro. Yeah. So I understand what you mean, though. I am going to go with the basis, though. Just say a liar, because I'm going by the basis. He's stealing, but I feel you're trying to overcomplicate his actions.
But see, I love that argument. How you found the similarity between the two? Because I completely overlooked that.
Yeah, like that's what I just said. Using his analogy, it was easy to make that. But if you're to use if you're going to separate the two, and then you give me an overwhelming argument, then I'll concede it. But in that broad sense of how you were breaking it down, they sound the same.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, what do you guys think though? What's more evil, protecting an evil person from the law or killing an evil person? Comment below, let us know, okay? So we're gonna wrap up this episode. Remember, subscribe, like, all of that, comment. We want to know. We want to hear everybody's opinion, okay? As always, it's Joshua Freeman. To my left, I got Mr. Bryan Carey. Far right, I got Mr. Desmond Tillmon. And of course, I want to thank special guest Chris. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.